with us. Hi,
Hi.
Ellen, are you there? Great. Super.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Hope you are doing good as well.
Yes.
Great.
Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. So we have got, good number of audience right now who are actually from the similar, same kind of interest level and from the same kind of energy level. So let me introduce my very good friend Ellen. Ellen is actually from a different time zone, or maybe we should say she's from US, and we are actually sitting in India with the Indian audience, but we have a common connection, which is heart-to-heart connection, which is connection of
Awesome.
love. So Ellen is actually a healer, as well as she did a lot of stuff in her life. She had an amazing journey through her entire life, and she's always there to help people up, to heal people, to understand their pain, and then give them a particular solution. So I'll not, waste time of Ellen. Rather, I'll put everything to her so that she can explain her details and her background and how she is doing all those amazing magical stuff. We have lovely audience with us who are from the similar industry. They are going to ask you a lot of questions after you're done, Ellen. Over to you.
Okay.
I'll put myself
Okay.
in mute mode. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So, I guess I'll just tell everybody a little bit about my background. And so my background, I grew up in the United States, in the Western states in Utah, which is a very kind of a Christian religious environment. And I grew up with a lot of mental illness and issues like that are kind of common in the United States, probably everywhere really. And when I was a 4-year-old, I drowned in a swimming pool and I went to heaven. So it was a profound experience, obviously, that set my whole life in that direction to some degree. And my mother left, so I didn't have a mother growing up. My father ended up raising me, and throughout the years, I ended up having a lot of different really profound spiritual experiences where I died at least 6 or 7 times that I can recall, where I left my body through death experiences. So every time that happened, I had new things revealed, and then I started to develop psychic abilities when I was a small kid. And, by the time I was a teenager, I was full on hearing thoughts and telepathy and all that stuff, and didn't really understand what was going on. I knew, but I didn't have anybody to really talk to about it. So it was a very interesting thing. But I gained a lot of knowledge from having those death experiences. And then eventually I had a full-blown Kundalini awakening about 10 years ago, and that brought it all together. It made everything make sense. So and I think that's when I met you. I can't hear you.
Yeah. And together we discussed a lot of things about life and life journey. So
Yes.
could you please help our audience to, explain a little bit about life? What is life and what is death? What is the difference between both of them?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't know if we'll be able to cover that in 20 minutes, but I'm going to try. But I know for me that in my life, and I think most of us, I don't know anybody that hasn't gone through tremendous suffering, or at least a lot of experiences and a lot of things that don't feel good. And we're trying to interpret the world around us, and we're living in this world where we're chasing money. We got to get the house, and we got to pay the bills, and we got to listen to our bosses and listen to our teachers, and all of these things are going on, and pressure, 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 rush, rush, rush. And then when you go to the other side, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that at all. Everything's fun and everything's beautiful and peaceful and safe and sacred. And so, we're living in a reality um, that is absolutely the contrast, the opposite of what our spiritual nature is. And yet, at the same time, being here in this other contrast is causing our souls to evolve. So we kind of chose it so that we would continue to evolve and expand and remember to come back to love again. At least that's my understanding.
Super, super. Okay, Rahul got a question. Let me unmute him. Yeah, Rahul, please.
Hello, ma'am. Hi.
Hello.
So, it's not a question. From the school of thoughts that I belong to, what I believe is sufferings is what is emotional, what we bring upon ourselves.
Yes.
It's in our own head whether we can accept it as a suffering or accept it as a learning.
Yes.
And the moment we understand that it is not a suffering but a learning experience, that is where our suffering ends and we begin to evolve.
I agree with that.
Experience. So it's always a learning experience. I don't think there is any negative experience in our life. First of all, every experience is a positive experience that gives us a chance to learn and evolve. The more stronger the experience is, the better our chances to learn and evolve are. So the most negative experiences are our best opportunities, I feel.
Yes, I absolutely agree. That's why I said I think we chose to come and experience this expansion so that we would evolve. And it might seem to us at the time that it's a negative, but it's up to us to turn it into a positive, right? It doesn't just look positive sometimes.
So it's in our head and it doesn't depend on the other person at all. It's all
Yes,
inside our head.
yes.
So that is what we need to know, that what is in our head, what we want, and wanting what will fix everything for us. That is the most important realization.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so as per my understanding for both of you, it's a very common man's understanding. Energy is always positive. Okay, energy is
Yes.
always positive. Now, when you don't see any negativity in the mortal world, you just can't think of positivity, right? So if negative doesn't exist, you don't understand what is positive. So like in life, when you get some kind of suffering, how do you feel that you should go on a positive note? How do you escape those negative part from life and then go for positivity? What's your thought on that?
I'm one of those people where for me I can tell by the way that I feel. So if I start to feel not good, or I start to feel depressed, or sad or angry or any of those emotions, then I don't like to feel that way. So it makes me look at what is going on and what am I thinking about, how, what am I thinking that's causing me to feel bad. And then that gives me an indication that it's what I'm thinking. If I change it, then I can make my feelings feel good again. Like, am I looking at this like it's a bad thing? If I am, I start to feel bad. But if I look at it and I say, this is a great opportunity. What we're going through in our world right now is a perfect example that we can look at it and it looks a little, bad, right? You could look at it and see that it might look bad, but in reality, what it's doing for me is it's really causing me to expand myself more. It's really causing me to love people more. It's really causing me to grow, honestly. And I mean, it's pushed me right over a few personal hurdles just in the last couple of weeks. So I start to feel a certain way and it tells me, oh, I gotta act, I gotta do something. Turn this around, right?
Super, super. Like I can feel the energy of all the people who are there in our conversation. Like we are all thinking that there is something positive needs to be done. There is something positive which is going to happen instead of thinking that there is negativity in the world itself. So I'll take an example of one of our cultural incident. Like if you look at our picture, we have a god called Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu is always a protector of everyone, protector of universe. So we depicted the picture like this. So Lord Vishnu is lying on a top of Sheshnag, which is one of the greatest serpent in the mortal world, or maybe the immortal world. Got multiple heads on it, and he's lying like idle, and his eye is half open, and the serpent is on the top of so the serpent is basically on the top of a sea, okay, and Lakshmi Devi is doing padaseva, right? So the meaning of this picture, as per the depiction, easiest meaning is, as a human, when you don't affect yourself from the ups and downs of life, which we call as sangsar, which is depicted as that sagar, and you are focused enough, but you show the world that you are actually half sleeping, but you are actually in control. You're showing others that you are sleeping, but actually you are in control and you are controlling your own energy and own five elements of life. So you don't have to run for money. Rather, money will come to you, which is
Mhm.
simple as Lakshmi. On the same line, we have got similar kind of cultures, which I believe you have been through. I mean, I can see your posts, I can see your interviews. You have been through a lot of different kind of culture. So I'll be more than happy if you can share something from different cultures and how they have depicted all those aspects of life and releasing energy. Ellen, over to you.
Yeah. So here, I think that a lot of us collectively, at least in the United States, call what you're talking about 0 point, which is where the whole world can seem like it's in chaos, and you can just sit and be and it's not affecting me. I see that there's chaos going on, and I see that there's people are doing this and people are doing that, but it's not taking away from me my own personal peace. And so we call that the 0 point, basically, and that's where you're able to balance the fact that there's positive and negative things going on, but none of them really have to do with you, as long as you can pull your own power back to yourself. You observe it, you don't allow it to get under your skin, basically. Is that kind of?
Wow.
Oh, there you are. There you are.
Yeah. Okay. So Abhishek got a question. Abhishek, yeah, you can shoot your question. Just unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. My question is basically people are blaming to other. They are wrong, but at the same time of people are their own home, but they cannot blaming himself. To how this type of negativity can be removed from our mind.
Just put your question in Hindi. I'll translate. हिंदी में बोलो
बोल
बेटा.
रहे हैं कि, कि जो जो इंसान दूसरे को ब्लेम करता है, मतलब किसी अदर पर्सन को कि वो गलत है, ठीक है, तो वो आसान है, पर उस टाइप का इंसान उसके फैमिली मेंबर में एक गलत रहता है तो उसको वो एक्सेप्ट कर लेता है, पर दूसरे को वो ब्लेम करते रहता है. तो मतलब ये सब चीज से हम कैसे बचेंगे, अपना मेंटालिटी कैसे चेंज करेंगे कि भले ही वो मेरे से इमोशनली अटैच हो, पर वो गलत है, तो हमें वो कैपेबिलिटी होना चाहिए कि
Okay, I
उसको
got the
वो
question.
गलत बोलने का, चाहे चाहे वो मेरा बाप ही क्यों ना हो.
Okay, I got the question. Okay, Ellen, he's asking that in life, people don't really, accept the fact that they are not doing something which is justice. They always blame others. They always feel that somebody else is responsible, solo responsible for his own sins. So how do you actually take it forward? How do you make feel of those people that they are not doing good? Rather, it's his or her own fault. How do you address those kind of situations? That's his question.
Well, I think that it's fair to at least acknowledge that you don't enjoy the feeling when somebody else does something, if it doesn't resonate, or if it doesn't feel like love. So if somebody rapes you, you have a right to not like that. It's not a nice thing to go through, and you have a right. That's not. We own our power, and we own our own responsibility for how we receive that, whether we want to feel sad about it for 30 years. That I guess you can choose to do that, but at the end of the day, you can't really maybe change things that happened in your life, but you can change how you perceive it. So as long as you're blaming the other person for it happening, you're not seeing the higher picture. And there's a higher picture, which is that it can help you. It might have caused you to evolve more. It might have, you know, you have to kind of look for the blessing in the midst of the chaos. You have to find the beauty, and so if you can find the beauty in the wound or whatever it is that happened to you, then you can grow and move on. But as long as you're holding somebody else responsible and you're blaming them for your happiness every day, you're losing your own spiritual power, because at the end of the day, you're in control of how you feel, whether you want to look at it or not. It doesn't take away that maybe you had some bad experience somewhere down the line, but holding on to that's only going to cause you to perpetuate the same pain over and over and over. So at some point you get to this point where you take your own power back. I choose to feel good. That's it. The end. I'm not going to give power to that person or that thing or that experience or whatever. Does that answer the question?
No, ma'am. I think there is a simpler way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the emotional science says that in order to come out of blaming someone else, first, the most important point is to realize that the fault is yours. It's your life. Everything that is happening to you is because of some action that you have done, some thoughts that have originated in your mind. Like your example of a person getting raped. Ask that person, she must have been scared all her life that she'll get raped one day, either consciously or subconsciously. A person who's not scared that he or she will get raped will never get raped in life. That is the truth of emotional spirit, psychological science. We don't realize, that's why we are suffering. And so in order to stop blaming others, there are three very important basic steps. Number one is to accept that the fault is yours. Number two is to forgive the person for their mistakes. Number three is to forgive yourself for causing that mistake. 3 steps only.
Super.
Once you are through with all these
Rahul,
steps, then you come out of the problem and it permanently resolves. Maybe you
super.
need to practice the three steps 1,000 times or 10,000 times or 1 million times to come out of the problem. But using these 3 basic steps, you will always come out of the problem.
I 100% agree. But I think that there's a lot of people who maybe aren't at that level of consciousness, and maybe, you know, maybe they're thinking, well, how could I be the one to blame when I...
Ma'am, this thought will bring the consciousness. This thought itself will bring the consciousness. Consciousness is not there. Consciousness can be brought by the right thought, because thoughts is what consciousness is. You have to plant the right thoughts to bring the right consciousness. That is all I want to say.
How will
And
you
once
how
you
will you
plant the
put
right
right
thought, the consciousness will keep growing and developing, and the person will develop in spiritual, emotional, and physical ways.
Okay, how will you develop such kind of thoughts? I have a question for you, Rahul. How will you develop such kind of thought? If the person's maturity level is not
Exactly.
there, how will you create the consciousness?
Sir, I cannot create the consciousness. I can tell the person that he is wrong in different ways. I can keep telling him without getting frustrated. Slowly and slowly, the rigidity in the person will decrease and he will evolve. I
Super.
can
Abhishek,
suggest
you want
him
to say something?
meditation,
Hello.
breathing exercise,
Yeah,
like sir, the
yeah, yeah.
basic, the most simplest way, which people don't know, which can change them, is abdominal breathing. Abdominal breathing is you breathe in for 3 seconds. Breathing in is like a stomach. We have to treat our stomach as a balloon.
True.
Breathing in means the stomach has to come out.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 seconds you breathe in. 1 second you hold. 3 seconds you breathe out. And again, 1 second you hold. Now, instinctively, while breathing, if your stomach is going in, while breathing in, your stomach should come out. But if it is going in, that means you are stressed. If instinctively your stomach is coming out while breathing, that means you are happy. It's as simple as that, but we don't know it. We know it, we don't realize it.
Right.
And just by practicing this breathing exercise, a stressed person can change from being stressed to becoming happy, and that can remove all the emotional, financial, and spiritual troubles from his life. It's as simple as that. Just a 8-second breathing exercise. The more the person is in problem, the more number of times he has to do it. That's it.
Shomik, you want to say something, I guess. Please go ahead. No problem. We are all same.
My question is really, Rahul is really give us a good thought, and I believe that whatever problem we have solution in within us only. There is no outside. We are go and we are searching. Rahul, excellent. And when we are my main question to madam is, we have a fear. So how we can overcome this fear? What is the process where we can overcome this, our internal fear? Rahul also give us some thought. So madam, if you elaborate all these things, that will be great for us. And Arijitda, thank you very much. Having good session. We are in house, but having a good knowledge out of this session. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Ellen, over to you. How do you, overcome your internal fear of your own fear, like inside your heart, maybe inside your mind? How do you overcome all those fears?
I'm going to complicate it more than maybe the other guy, but for me, again, it comes back to how do I feel, and I don't like to feel fear. So when I get to where I'm feeling fear, then I start to kind of, after a little while, I don't like the way it feels, I get pissed off. So then I go to anger a little bit, and then I look at whatever it is that is causing me fear, and I decide that it can't be worse, is that whatever it is I was afraid of can't be worse than the pain I was feeling. So it causes me to have the courage to face whatever it was that I was fearing. So I think the courage is the answer to overcoming fear. And at the end of the day, you can choose whether you're going to be afraid of something, or you can choose whether you're going to face everything, and you'll see that it's not as bad as what your mind was making you afraid of.
Rahul, your
Ma'am,
text.
your solution is absolutely correct. Courage is the opposite feeling to fear. Courage and inner strength. We need to just say to ourselves that we are strong, we will overcome this fear, and we are strong enough to overcome this small trouble in our life that gives us the energy to overcome a fear. But I would also like to elaborate the origin of fear. What is fear? Fear is something that we are giving the energy to harm us. Like I
Yeah.
said, everything originates from our mind. We might have had a negative experience, like with a dog. A dog might have bitten us in childhood. And every time we see a dog, we feel that the dog will bite us again. And with time, with age, our fear of the dog keeps increasing, although the dog just bit us once. Or maybe he never even bit us, he just chased us around. But we are generating this fear in our minds that the dog will bite us. So every fear is just like that. Maybe it has happened, it will not happen again. Maybe it did not even happen and it just started as a fear and it has been inculcated in our heart. And it's just our resentment to let go of that fear that is making us suffer its consequences. That's it. That's all about fear.
Super.
It's all in our head. We can just let go of it and know that it's not like COVID. You can just be rest assured if you are below 40 that COVID will not kill you. If you are healthy, COVID will not affect you also. If your immunity is high, COVID will not catch you also. You can go inside a detention center or a quarantine unit without any protection gear or maybe even without clothes, and it will not harm you. I can challenge that to any person in the world. I can literally get COVID blood injected in myself, and 2 days later, I will test negative.
Yeah.
Super.
That is the level of confidence we should have.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, I'll be sharing one incident in my life. Most probably, uh, you guys have heard about the Mumbai, incident. What happened on that time? The terrorist attack that happened. So I was there in the same place. I went there to attend a meeting over there in Hyatt Regency itself. The whole event was actually, uh, didn't happen. Actually. So but Mumbai didn't have any kind of clue what is going to happen next. Like the terrorist attacked the Taj, and then everything has been shut down. But Mumbai didn't have any kind of idea what is going on. and I was there for a business meeting. And from my home, people started giving me calls whether I'm alive or not. And my father, he told me that just stay there. I mean, you don't have to come back. Next day, I had a train journey to complete from Mumbai to Calcutta. On those time, I was not, I should say, luxurious enough to catch the flight. Rather, I used to travel by train. But I decided I'm not going to stay back in Mumbai. So I saw a different kind of level. So due course of time, I cannot finish the whole story, but the gist of the whole story is I didn't stop myself. I never had any kind of taxi to catch my train from the hotel which I stayed there. So I started walking. I started walking at 3 o'clock at night. My train was supposed to start at around 6:30 a.m. from VT, but I decided not to catch the train from VT. Rather, I'll be catching the train from Dadar itself. I started walking, and I didn't have any kind of clue in 2008 without Google Map that where exactly I'm heading to. I just started walking, and then I found a guy who is actually a milkman. He helped me to find a way towards the railway station. Some policemen, they helped me to reach nearby Dadar station. In the station itself, there was no passenger. There were only two commandos. They told me that, hey, where you are heading to? I said, I'm going back home. I'm here to catch a train. They started laughing at me and said that I didn't find any kind of person like you who is at this hour waiting for train going back home. I said, yes, I'm going to go back home. Don't worry, my train will come. They said that, you know what, trains are being closed. I told them the train will come, don't worry. Just, keep faith and let me go towards that station. They said, okay, go. They never thought the train would come. But the train came. I was the only passenger in the train. And slowly train started. And after 2 to 3 hours, I slept. And when I, awake, there were other passengers and the train ticket collector came. He said, I mean, I saw you when you, catch the train, only passenger. And what is your feeling? I said, I'm just feeling I'm going home. I'm happy. That's it. And when I came back home, my father said, bloody hell, you are such an insane guy. I mean, who could have thought that you are coming back? So talking about fear, it's actually in your mind. If you feel you can do it, you can do it. That's it. There is no other option. There is no other third party who can actually tell you you shouldn't do or you should do. If you have confidence in you, just go for it. There is nothing called negativity as per my understanding. And that's how Rahul, me and Ellen, we are all connected. We started talking like this. We started talking like there is nothing called negative energy. Right, Ellen? Do you remember that? Right?
Mhm.
There is all positivity in life. And she asked me, do you have love in your life or not? I remember the day and the time when Ellen asked me, Arijit, do you find love in your life? I was thinking aloud. I mean, for the next 1 year, I've been thinking, what is the meaning of that small word? Now I realize that it was not a mortal one she asked. It was a different kind of question she asked me, that whether you have found love in your life. So most probably we can have another session about the balance between love and life, which is actually life itself, which is love. And that's what she
Yeah.
meant, actually. That's what she meant. So maybe we
Hello.
can have, yeah, Abhishek, you want to ask something, but we have limited
Yes.
time of 7 minutes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. What is the difference between confidence and overconfidence, and what is its effect?
So you're
I
asking what?
would like to answer that. I would like to answer that in very short.
Ellen, Rahul, if you
So,
don't mind, can Ellen answer that, and then after that you can?
no, sir, I would like to, in
Okay,
very
okay.
short, very small perspective. After that, Ellen ma'am can continue, build upon that, maybe. So it's like confidence and overconfidence is the amount of confidence that you can handle peacefully without getting rude about it, without getting pride about it, is the right amount of confidence. That's it. There is nothing called overconfidence. If you
Yes.
get pride about it, then it is overconfidence.
Yes. Good.
Ellen, your text.
Yes, ma'am. Ellen, ma'am, continue.
And for me, it's about value of the self and value of the other person being equal. So I value me, but I value you too. And as long as you value, you know, but I don't put you down. That if you're confident, you value yourself and you feel strong in who you are, but not because you're trying to put somebody below you. If you're cocky, we call it cocky overconfidence, but it's cocky here, and that's just that you're, you know, that's that you think you're better than somebody else, and that's no good.
No, ma'am, there was not any intention like that. I hope you don't mind. It's just that I knew that you will be able to get a better perspective of what I want to say also.
Oh no, I wasn't talking about you. I just was talking about the difference between confidence and overconfidence.
Correct.
She never does that, Rahul. Never ever. I mean, she always talks about positivity. Don't worry. Well, in any case, is there anyone who would like to ask any questions? Because we have 5 minutes left for our session. Maybe Nishuji, or I can say Grandmaster. I don't know your full name. Abhishek, anyone. Somik, or else I can maybe, you know, end the session if someone don't have any question.
Is that, did you say there's a grandmaster there? I think that's Robert. Say hi.
Okay, so Grandmaster, I mean, we can unmute you and you can say hi to all of us. Are you there? No, I guess we are not, I guess we lost it.
Okay.
Okay. In any case, thank you so much, Ellen, for, you know, the lovely session, and thank you, Rahul, for all the insights, and thank you, Ellen, for all the insights and the information. Maybe we'll do some video together and spread the love in our own world, and we can be together again. Thank you so much. Thank you, lovely audience, and let's stay tuned for the another session. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.